Hi, welcome to the show today. This is the Jenkins Art Studio and I'm Catherine Jenkins. I'm going to paint a beautiful painting for you today, something that I think you're going to learn a lot about. It's the poinsettia, the beautiful, beautiful Christmas flower. And today we have the poinsettia with a beautiful gold leaf border. Let's take a look at the one I'm going to be painting from. There it is. Isn't that gorgeous with the gold leaf border and the little leaves, holly leaves and the holly berries around the top and the bright, bright red flowers and the Christmas boughs. So this is going to be a good one to learn on today. We're going to have lots of neat things to show you. So let's get started because we won't have time to put it all in if we don't get going on this. First of all, I want to show you a little bit about the gold leaf. This is gold leaf, the way it comes in sheets like this. And it's very, very light, very fine paper, just like a feather. It's so thin. And it comes in sheets in a little packet like this, and you put it on with sizing. It even sticks to your fingers. If your fingers are the least little bit wet, they'll stick to them, so make sure your fingers are real dry. You put it on with sizing first. You put the sizing on with a brush, and you put the sizing on the canvas, let it set for about a half hour wherever you want your border. You mask off your border, and wherever you want the gold leaf, you put the sizing underneath. Let it set for about a half hour, then you put your gold leaf sheets on and then rub off the excess. And all the directions are usually on the packet of the gold leaf, how to do that gold leaf. So we have masked off an area here. I just made up a design of about, maybe 2 inches from the inside, from the edge, and then put the sizing around here and the gold leaf, curve the top. You could make little round half circles here like I did on the original one and bring your gold leaf into a little rounded corner instead of the square corners. And then I just went around with a little liner brush and put these little holly leaves with some greens and siennas and a little vine coming around, and then some little red berries up there, and that's optional. You don't need to do that, but it's kind of a neat little interest. I call this a Christmas card painting because that's what it looks like, is a little Christmas card design. And then I went in and painted white with a large, this is a 32 background brush, and just painted white all the way around. Oh, this is after I put the drawing. The drawing of the poinsettia goes on first, and that'll be in the painting packet, the pattern. And you put your drawing on with graphite paper. Then you go around and paint the whole inside white with white oil paint. We're going to be using oil paint now. And stay out of the area where you're going to put the red for the poinsettias. You don't want to go in there with your white. And then I just loosely crisscross some real soft pastel colors, some yellows, some pinks, some blues, greens. Just crisscross them on and soften them out with a blender brush. Keep it real pastel. And then I went in with green and sienna with a smaller brush, maybe a 22 or a number 20 Badger. And we just went in and crisscrossed some greens, tucked some dark, dark greens around the flowers, and then crisscrossed them out in a light stroke to get them real soft out on the edges here. And then, to start the poinsettias, we went in with crimson. This is just crimson oil paint, very, very thin, lots of medium. And I'm going to pick up some crimson and load the brush and come on up to the canvas, and I'll just show you how I place this in. This is just crimson with a lot of medium, and just fill in your drawing, and you can make some little tips. They have some nice little points, and just very loosely fill this color in. And I did that all the way around on both of these flowers. And now we have a little bit of a darker color in here, and I'm going to reach down and pick up a touch of medium and crimson and a little bit of black. Now be careful, not too much black, because it will turn your whole poinsettia black. That makes sense. So you want black with mostly crimson. And that's where I went in with these shadowed areas right here. See, some of these areas are a little bit darker, and up here we'll do that on this one. We'll shadow just a little darker, because a poinsettia has a lot of layers of petals, and there's real dark red underneath some of the other layers that are going to be in the front. So we'll just loosely place this around. Remember, don't go in with lines. You don't want this. You don't want hard lines. You just want the flat of your brush and some dark shadow area. And if it does get too hard looking, the shadow area, just take your mop and soften some of those areas out. See how that pushes that back? The mop blender, or your other blender is fine, is great. That will save everything for you. And remember, this is oil paint, so if you mess up, you can just wipe the whole thing off and start over again. You can't really make mistakes. That's what's so great about oil paint. It stays wet for a few days. So let's get up here and start. Oh, you know what we're going to do before we do the flowers, the red of the flowers, the highlights of the flowers, I think we'll put in some shadow leaves way in the background. Those are those gray-green leaves that are kind of just the misty leaves way off in the background, and we'll start a few of those up here. Come on down to the palette. I'm going to pick up a touch of medium, not too much, because remember, you're already working on a wet background. Now this color I've mixed up here, this is mostly white with a touch of black, a touch of green, and a touch of cerulean blue. I'll say that again. That's mostly white, a touch of black, a touch of blue, and a touch of green. So it's a gray, green, blue color. And that's going to give us those little shadow leaves way in the back. We'll start back here and get some of those long tapered leaves. Start with the edge of the brush and just flatten out and taper off. You see that? Flat, taper. And we've got a lot of these on the Technique tape, and these are so simple now because I'm working on a wet background. These just go in so simple. You go right over that border, break right over the border. I'm going to reach down, pick up a little more. Now this time I'm going to vary the color a little bit. I'm going to add a little more green. You don't want your foliage all one color. Sometimes you want more gray, sometimes more green. Come on over here and we'll just make a little stem, the edge of the brush, and we'll wiggle. Let's get over here where you can see that. Wiggle the brush and lift off. Wiggle the brush and lift off. Those are those little long leaves that are kind of like exotic looking leaves. How about another one over here? And come over and break over the border. And let's do some more of those. Remember, vary your colors. Sometimes I might add a little touch of sienna into the gray-green to give it a little warmer color. And back up here, a stem. These chiseled edges on these badger hair brushes make the greatest little skinny stems. Wiggle color down through the center and stroke toward the center vein. And there's your big leaf. Another one here. That's that big leaf that we so often put in rose paintings or poppy paintings. And maybe another here. And maybe a few here. Now don't forget to overlap. Let's put a little more green. I'm going to reach down for some more green, a little more sienna, make that a little darker because I'm overlapping another leaf, so I want it to show up in front. So this one, like right here, let's make it a little darker. There, now it's going to show up in front of those other ones. And let's come down to the bottom and we'll just swing a few right down here, there, like that, and stroke toward the back. Now these poinsettia leaves, they can be a little more ragged on the edges because they kind of have a lot of little jagged edges, so you can leave some breaks in your strokes, in between your strokes. Sometimes you can use just the edge of the brush like that and get a little bit more of a ragged leaf. Let's do the other side of that one. A little bit more of a ragged leaf. Now in a little while we'll highlight some of these leaves. Another one here. And we're going to get some dark ones in there too after we get the flower in. And let's bring some down here. Those are those little guys that are just going to be peeking out from behind the dark ones. Little guys here. And they get smaller and smaller, more graceful as they come out to the end of your composition or out to the edges of the composition. Now we'll start those flowers. We'll get those beautiful highlight colors on. I'm going to rinse my brush, rinse it in turp, get it nice and clean, get all that green off. And we're going to dip down here I'll pick up just a touch of medium. Remember, your base tone was real wet, had a lot of medium. So this time use less medium and more paint. And we'll go into our red, cad red, and our cad red light. I'm going to mix them together. And let's go way up here. And let's just start. And we'll see if this shows up. And you're going to start out on the edge of the petal and stroke in toward the center. I'm going to lighten that up just a bit. Let's go with cad red and a touch of orange. But whatever you do on a red flower, stay away from the white paint. The white, you know, mixed with red will just turn everything pink. So this is red with a touch of orange. There we go. Little orange, little red, and I'm just going to go around to all these edges and work from the outside in. When I reach down, when my brush disappears, I'm just picking up the same color. So stay right up there with me. And I'm lifting my brush up before I come all the way in to the center of that petal. And we're going to go around first and do all the outside edges first, all the outside petals rather. And this one down here. And this is kind of just the middle tone. The other was our dark base tone. And I keep picking up more of the orange and more of the red. There we go. And go all the way around. Now I'm going to leave that one right now and I'm going to go to the other one, red and orange. So many people ask in our classes, how do you paint a red flower, a red rose especially? And they go in and they start with the red, dark red or crimson base tone, good enough, but then they start picking up white because they say, well, the light red doesn't show up on top of the dark red enough. So common sense at first would tell you, well, let's get a little lighter and go in with some white to highlight the petals. Well, that's going to turn your red rose or your red flower, red poinsettia, pink right away. So stay away from the white until the very, very last. And I'm just doing the same thing, that push down, lift up stroke. If you get a chance to get our technique tape or see the technique show that I did, we'll show you these strokes, that quick push down, lift off stroke. Very, very important. And I'm going out beyond the edge of my drawing a little bit too with these highlights. Going out beyond the edge. Now we're going to go into the middle. Let's stay right down on this one. We'll get just a little lighter. Now I'm going to add, let's add a little bit of rose or rose and white. Now I'm going to go in just a tiny bit lighter on these middle petals. They have many, many layers. And now this is not a lot of white. It's just a tiny bit of white, a little bit of rose. And just start plunking around here and getting some of these other ones in. They kind of, some of them are skinny and they twist and turn all different directions. Let's get a little darker. Be careful of the white. And we'll be putting some of this white and rose on the outer edges. Let's hit this one. I have yet to paint those poinsettias that do have they're pink or they're kind of a salmon color. And of course there's white ones too. And they are beautiful. But we want to just hit the edges just in a couple places. This is the rose and the white, just here and there. And let's go up to the top one. This is the rose with a touch of white and maybe a little bit of the red in it. And let's do this one here. There's little layers. Of course, those of you that are avid gardeners know that these are called bracts. It's not called the flower, it's called the bract, which is just actually a red leaf. And that's what the poinsettia is. It's all these little red leaves. Some of them you just hit a little stroke, some of them you might be showing the side. Keep it loose, very, very loose. You don't want to tighten up on your painting and have it real hard looking. Let's go over here. Where should we hit? A few highlights here and a few up here. But this is one flower that you don't want to go in and highlight with the white, just plain white like we do some of the other flowers. Let's get the centers in. I'm going to use a little, it's just a little filbert. It's a little tiny filbert and a number 8. and then put a little medium on the brush. And let's see, let's go in with yellow and orange. I'm going to load up the brush with yellow and orange. And then we're going to come over here and just hit the tip of the brush with that green and sienna mixture. Just a little bit on the tip. And I'll show it up here. You see this up here? You see that? How I've got the tip just loaded with the green? There we go. And the rest is the yellow and orange. And we'll go up to the center of this one and we'll just start out on the tip and push. Look at that. Isn't that neat? And that gives you your neat little center. Let's go down, and I'm going to load just a little more green on the brush, green and sienna, and go up to the top one up here. Push, and that gives you both colors at once. And you just plunk around and get all those neat little centers in there. Okay, we better get on those dark leaves. Those big, dark, lush green leaves that'll be coming out from under the flower, and those are the ones that will make the flower edges stand out. Dark under the flower will make the petals just pop out, and that's where I've started some of those dark greens in here. Oh, and by the way, if I didn't say so, this is an 18 by 24 size canvas, 18 by 24 stretch canvas. So let's pick up our green and sienna mixed up. And let's just come on up, let's come on in this area right here. And we'll just start placing in some of those very dark leaves. Now remember, this goes on so great because it's a wet background already. And don't just go up to some leaves and stop, because in the garden, they don't just stop, they overlap, or in a bouquet. So don't be afraid to overlap. We're going to break right over here, right outside the border. See that? We come right over that border. And another one here. Now you could go in and put these leaves in first before you do the flower. And that's a good way to do it. That way it's sometimes a little easier for you to sneak the leaves in, but I'm going to do it this way today. I'm going to do it backwards. So it's your painting, and you can do it in whatever stages you want. You just want it to turn out good. That's the main thing. And when you practice and practice these strokes, and the more painting you do, the better your painting's going to come out. Let's come up to the top. We've got a nice dark one here. Now these are all overlapped in layers, all different layers. And watch your tips. They get a little long sometimes. And where else? Let's see. How about one coming out right here? Now, I had a little red on my brush, so that's fine. We're going to be tinting these leaves with red anyway. And we've got some little green Christmas boughs, pine boughs. And let's bring one right out here. Start way in the middle and use that chiseled edge way up here. Now, I'll get another brush going in a minute. Let's come way down to the bottom, doing the same thing, putting some little stems, these chiseled edges. You can make skinny, skinny little stems. And let's pick up a little liner, or no, this is a little sable round. And it comes to a nice point, and I'm going to pick up medium and some green and sienna. Let's start down at the bottom. There we are. And just come out from the stem with some little guys. I'm going to reach down for some more paint because these brushes don't hold a whole lot of paint, so you have to keep loading. And it tapers off into a point, and as it comes back to the base and tucks in under the bouquet, they get a little bit fatter. How about over here? Bring them to a point, little point, and you can taper them off. Let's go up to the top, and way up here, let's do a few of those. Now you take your time on this painting. I have to rush, and I don't have near as much time. We've only got 20-something minutes, and that's not a lot of time. Wish we had about 3 hours up here, but we don't, so we just have to get in as much as we can. And we're just here to give you ideas, Gary and I. And then you have to learn to experiment and use your photos to paint by and do all those gorgeous paintings. I know you can do it. I know you can. It's easy, easy. Okay, now we've got some little red Christmas berries, and we'll see if we can't get those in. I'm going to pick up a larger filbert. This is a number 12 filbert, a little bit larger than the other one. We're going to pick up some crimson, a little bit of beautiful, beautiful crimson, a little medium. And where should we put these little guys? How about right down here? I want you to come in real close on this so you don't miss it. We're going to just place the brush down and we're going to swirl it around. You see that? Swirl it around. How about another one? And how about another one? Sometimes it takes 2 swirls. One around one side and one around the other. That's the crimson. You pick up a little orange or a little orange and red light, and you decide where you want your highlight. You put a little highlight on one side. This is so simple, and this is how you do the little berries on the border too if you want. And you can use your little round brush and place just a little highlight right here, right on the top. That's the little sparkle. And we'll do a little stem. That's with the liner or the script brush. And we'll just come out like so and stop, out. And those are your little berries. Really, really simple. Put some little neat things coming out. And let's go back now and highlight those leaves. Get that beautiful red color. You've got the red in the middle of the painting, so you want to tie in this red to the outer edges a little bit, and that's also what the red berries do too. So let's get some beautiful red edges or some orange edges, some warm color. Let me rinse my brush out a little bit more, get all that green out. And I'll show you how to tint those edges. I might even pick up some pink here and a little red, pink. And let's come right up here. And you're not going to pull your stroke all the way into the middle of the leaf like you did before. You're just going to press and lift up sooner. Look at that beautiful edge. I'm going to reach down, get some more of that red. I just love to have the red on the leaves. If you look at leaves in nature, especially on the top of roses, some of them get very, very red. Way out here. There we go. And where else? Just reds and pinks. And just bounce this color. It's reflective color. It could be reflecting down off onto the leaves, and maybe a little bit up top here. How about right here? And a little bit here to bring one leaf in front of the other. And now how about a little bit of yellow? A little yellow and white, or this light green maybe color. Yummy color, lime green. They look luscious. They look like ice cream or sherbet. A little bit of green right here. And how about, where else? How about over here? Light green, light green. And let's bring some color way out over and up the other side of that leaf. Bring these right over the edge. And maybe up top. How about a little bit? Let's get some light green leaves right in here. I'm going to darken that just a tad. A little bit of filler leaves right in here. You have to stand back and look at your composition. Make sure, oh look at that, I got pink in there. I'm going to leave that. That's by not washing out the brush. Isn't that pretty? You have to stand back and look at your composition. Make sure you get everything in there. And I hope you learned a lot today, and I hope you took notes, and go get your paints and brushes out, and don't forget to condition your brushes. Keep them soft. So thanks for joining me, and don't forget to watch next week. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.